All right, guys, this is the practice systems of equations graphing quiz. It looks identical to the one that you're going to have tomorrow, except obviously just different equations. I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for as far as like grading wise, so that way you know, so that way you get full credit. These first ones are going to be worth 3 points, okay? So basically, a point, did you graph this one right? A point, did you graph this one right? And then a point, can you tell me the solution? So looking at this one right here, the slope is 1/3 and the y-intercept is -1. So I'm going to start at -1. Positive slope means it's going to be increasing, and more importantly, we're going to rise 1 and run 3. So up 1 over 1, 2, 3. And I go the opposite direction, down 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now once when I get this, I have my first equation, my first line graphed right there. And then I don't have a ruler on me, but we're going to sketch it. Okay, so there's the first one. And always check, it's got a positive slope, it's increasing, so I'm good to go. Next one right here, we're going to do in blue, which the slope is -2/3 and the y-intercept is -4. So I'm going to start here at -4 and I'm going to be decreasing. It's going to be a decreasing line since my slope's negative. So I can't go down 2, so instead I'm going to go up 2 and to the left 1, 2, 3. Up 2 and to the left I can't do anymore because I'm off the grid. And we're going to just sketch that line. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that would be 2 out of the 3 points. The last point you have to do is you have to write down the solution. Well, the solution is -3, -2. Remember, x comes before y in the alphabet, does the same thing in math. So you went left 3, down 2, -3, 2. That would give you full credit, having both lines graphed and the actual solution written down. Okay, next one, first one's going to be done in red. The slope is -1. The y-intercept is -4. Going to start here at -4. And this is the same thing as rise over run. Remember, if there's not a fraction, you can always rewrite it over 1. So I'm going to fall 1, run 1, and I can also go in the other direction. And if you notice, this is a decreasing line, and that's great because I have a decreasing slope. So I'm going to sketch that line right there. So there's 1/3 of the points. That's one of the 3 points. Now the next one, the slope is -1 again, and the y-intercept is 2. So before I begin to get started, slopes are the same, y-intercepts are different, so I know my answer is going to be no solution. You have to write no solution on your paper to get full credit. But I'm going to go ahead and graph this so that way I get full credit. So there's 2. I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, or you could go the opposite direction. Okay? And those 2 lines are parallel and they're never going to intersect. So that's all you got for number 1 and 2. Okay, number 3 is down here. We got to do a little bit of work because they're not in slope-intercept form. So this first one I'm going to do down here, okay, in red. 3x plus 2y equals -8. Subtract 3x from both sides. PEMDAS backwards. Got to undo whatever's adding or subtracting to y. It's going to leave you with 2y equals -3x minus 8. This looks closer to mx plus b. That's why I wrote the -3x first. Got to undo that multiplication by division. We got some rocket science. And now we're just going to clean it up and say it's y equals -3/2 x. -8 divided by 2 is a -4. So when I'm going to start graphing it, my y-intercept's -4, so I start at -4. My slope's -3/2, so I know it's going to be a decreasing line, but I can't go down 3, so I have to go up 3 and backwards 2. Up 3 and backwards 2. And now I can kind of sketch that line on there. Okay, the next one, same idea. We got to rewrite that in slope-intercept form. So we got x minus 2y equals -8. I'm going to subtract x on both sides to undo that addition or subtraction. I'm left with -2y equals -x minus 8. Don't drop the negative. That's where a lot of people make a mistake. Okay, undo that multiplication by dividing by -2. Do some rocket science here. And then we're going to clean up our 2 fractions. Negative divided by negative is a positive 1/2 x, and -8 divided by -2 is a positive 4. Use your calculator. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we're going to start here at positive 4 because my y-intercept's 4, and I got an increasing line because it's a positive slope. So I go up 1 to the right 2, or down 1 backwards 2, and then they hit each other right there at that point. So this one's going to be worth 3 points as well. No, probably 5 points. But regardless, while I'm still making the decision of how much this one's going to be worth, it'll be written on your paper. You need to show your work. You need to graph the two lines. And then you need to be able to tell me the solution. And the solution here is -4, 2. Okay? Left 4 up to -4, 2. So this one will be worth 5 points. Okay? On your quiz mark. And I'll write these down for you. 1 point for the red work, 1 point for the red line, 1 point for the blue work, 1 point for the blue line. And your last point comes from writing down the solution. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, we got 3x minus 2y equals 15. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And that leaves me with a -2y equals -3x plus 15. Don't drop the negative, okay? Undo the multiplication by division. We're going to do some rocket science. Now we're going to clean it up. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And 15 over -2 is just going to leave you with, when you put it in your calculator, you get -7.5. Okay? And when I want to start to graph this one's a little bit weird because our y-intercept is not the prettiest thing because it's not a whole number. But I know where 7.5 is. It's in between 7 and 8 right there. Okay, so there it is. And I'm going to go up 3 to the right 2 because it's a positive slope. Okay, +3, 1 hop, jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, and right 2. 1, 2, 3, right 2. 1, 2, 3, right 2. And now I can kind of sketch that line now that I got a couple points to look at. Okay, last one we're going to do in blue. -4y plus 6x equals 30. Okay, I'm going to rearrange that a little bit because that's kind of not what I'm used to seeing. Because standard form, they write the 6x before the 4y. Okay, now it's kind of back to what it looks like. Notice I took the negative with the 4 because it's in front of the 4, and I made the 6x positive because there's a plus sign in front of it. And now we do the same thing that we always do. Subtract 6x from both sides. That cancels. Don't forget your negative. So -4y equals -6x plus 30 because those two pieces are not like terms. We're going to divide both sides by -4 to undo that multiplication. And we got some rocket science we got to do now. Okay, -6 divided by -4. When I type that in my calculator, let me get a calculator and show you. I always put stuff in my calculator so that way my calculator would do the work as far as reducing. Okay, so we got -6 over -4. It reduces to 3 over 2. And next one is 30 over -4, which is also -15 over 2. But if we want to change it to a decimal, math, you can press the decimal. You get the same exact line that we did for the red one. So we know when we graph this, they're going to be touching everywhere. So once again, to get full credit for these 5 points, you need to write somewhere infinite solutions. And circle it. That would be your answer. Just graphing it is not enough. I'm trying to emphasize that to you guys. Alright, I know people are going to complain that they didn't get a joke today. So this is what's going to tell me if you watched the video or not, okay? So if you ask me tomorrow what was yesterday's joke, I know you didn't watch the video. So don't tell anyone so that way we can catch the people that didn't watch it, okay? Here you go. So how do you get a baby astronaut to sleep? You rock it. Get it? You a baby astronaut? You rock it? Alright, tough crowd. Okay, so we're going to go on the back now, okay? So number 5 and number 6. These are the ones like the airport. When you go to the airport, you got to check customs and you got to check or go through security. If you check out both, then you're a solution. If you don't check out both, then you're not a solution. And you have to check both in order to get on the plane, okay? So we're going to do the blue one first. 4 is x, 0 is y, because x comes before y. So I'm going to replace this x with something, and I'm going to replace this y with something. Okay, the x gets replaced with a 4, and the y gets replaced with a 0. These are all numbers. I'm going to type that in my calculator exactly how I see it. Okay, 3 times 4 minus 5 times 0 leaves me with 12. 12 equals 12. That checks out great. All right, next piece right here. Doing this part in red. 7 times something plus 2 times something should equal 28. Okay, so I'm going to replace x with a 4. I'm going to replace y with a 0. So when I type this in my calculator, because this is all numbers, 7 times 4 plus 2 times 0 gives me 28. So since 28 equals 28, I know I'm good to go. So this one's going to be worth 3 points, guys. Showing your work for one of them, showing your work for the last one, and the last point is yes, it is a solution. I need the word yes or no in there, okay? 1 point, 1 point, 1 point gives you 3 points. Same thing on number 2 or 2, 4, okay? This is your x, this is your y. We're going to check both of these. We're going to do the blue one first. -2 times something plus 4 times something equals 12. Okay, I'm going to replace x with a 2. Place y with a 4. Okay, that left side's all numbers, so I'm going to just type in my calculator exactly how I see it. So -2 parentheses 2 plus 4 times 4, and that gives me 12. So 12 equals 12 checks out. Okay, here's the next one in red. Instead of y, we're going to replace with something minus. Instead of x, we're going to replace with something -4. Okay, y is 4. X is 2. So be careful because typically we've been substituting the x in first. So make sure you double check your y parts and make sure that you substitute them in correctly. Okay, the left side's 4 and we're going to type in the right side. So -2, well, -2 minus 4 is a -6. 4 equals -6 doesn't work out. So you made it through security, but you didn't make it through customs. So nope, it's not a solution. Once again, this one's worth 3 points. 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. Okay? If you had checked this one first and found out that it's not a solution, skip to here, I'm not going to take credit off for that because you already know it's not a solution. Okay? When in doubt, just check all of them and then tell me the answer. Okay? Last question. I want you to pause the video for this one and see if you can do it on your own. See what you're thinking and see what happens because this is the stuff we did yesterday. So try it on your own first, pause the video, and then you can watch the video to see if you got it right. Olivia's building birdhouses to raise money for a trip to Hawaii. She spends a total of $30 on the tools needed to build the houses. The material to build each house costs $3.25. Olivia sells the birdhouse for $10. So the only thing I read that she's getting money for is this part right here. So that's her income. Okay, that's what she's earning money for it. And she's selling it for $10 each. Well, if she sells one birdhouse, that's $10. 2 birdhouses, that's 20. Then 30, then 40, then 50, then 60, then 70. And that sounds like a rate of change, okay? So Olivia's income is y equals 10x. And to be specific, it's really plus 0 because if she doesn't sell any birdhouses, then her initial value is just plain old 0. Okay, so that definitely is a rate of change, so we'll have to call that the slope. Okay, the next part I see is right here in red. Okay, she spent a total of $30 on tools and need to build the house. She's only going to spend that $30 one time, so I'm going to think of that as an initial value or starting point. Okay, and now the materials to build each house cost $3.25. So after one birdhouse, she spent $3.25. After 2 birdhouses, she spent $6.50. After 3 birdhouses, she spent $9.75. So that has to be a rate of change because it's per birdhouse. Okay? So when I put this together, I'm going to say y equals mx plus b, or y equals 3.25x plus 30. Replace m with 3.25, replace b with 30. Okay? And now I got to actually find out where those two things intersect. And here's the best part. You got a cheat sheet down here. Okay? I went ahead and gave you a graph. So as long as you know how to work your calculator, this should be the easiest question on there. Y equals, clear out this stuff, and we're going to go, the first one I have is 10x. If you want to put the plus here, you can. It doesn't hurt. And the last one is 3.25x plus 30. Okay? I'm going to go to my window, and when I'm looking down here at my chart, it tells me my x values go from 0 to 20. So I'm going to do my x min is 0, my x max is 20. I'm going to leave this as 1 because I don't know what it means, so I'm going to leave it alone. Now I'm going to look at my y values. It's going from 0 to 400. So I'm going to leave my y min as 0 and change my y max to 400. Okay, that was a give me. Your graph here gave it to you. Okay, so now when I'm looking at it, I have my graphs right here. I'm going to find the intersection. So I'm going to remind you of those buttons, okay? So we got second calc, and we're going to find the intersection, which is option 5. We're going to press enter 3 times. Okay, so my final answer here, I know it's kind of a little bit hard to see, is 4.4 repeating, comma 44.4 repeating. Okay, it's kind of a weird one, but when I'm looking at it, we got to ask ourselves, what does that mean? Okay, so once again, here's your cheat sheet. This is your x-axis. This is your y-axis. So that means x, y. If x is your number of yards mowed, so if you mow 4.4 repeating yards, then then you will break even. Then you will break even. So that's where your income and your expenses are the same, okay? You don't make any money, you don't lose any money. All I want to see is this right here for tomorrow, okay? That's what I want to see. That'd be your full answer, not just this, but tell me what it means. But here's your cheat sheet. X is this, Y is that, okay? If you notice, I didn't even say anything else about the Y part. If you want to go ahead and get technical, you can say it's 44.4 repeating dollars. I mean, that's where your income and your expenses come together. But that's okay if you don't. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I'm just looking that you know that this is how many yards you have to mow in order to break even, which is labeled for you on your X and Y axis. Okay? Tomorrow, don't worry about graphing. Okay? I'm not going to ask you to graph it because remember, we have these really nice calculators. I want to make sure you can use your calculators. If you got any questions, let me know. This question right here will be worth a total of 4 points. Okay? Let me tell you where the 4 points come from. 1 point for this equation, 1 point for this equation, 1 point for the intersection, and 1 point for the actual sentence. And guys, you have a resource guide, and I told you this looks identical to the quiz tomorrow. So if there's a question on here that was kind of confusing to you, write it down so you have a good example to reference tomorrow when you take your quiz. Okay, at this time